Hey everyone, it's Nina. I'm a 4/6 emotional manifestor, and today I'm going to talk about gate 37 or gene key 37. So wherever you're coming from, it's the same, just discussed in different ways. And since I'm going through the Venus sequence right now with gene keys, I'm actually going through, it's like a 6-month course, but can go on obviously a lot longer than that as you continue to contemplate and go through the actual sequence. It's very intense. I've been at it for about 2 months, and there's a lot to reflect and contemplate on, especially when you're going over the shadows. It forces you to be very honest with yourself about a lot of different things. So currently I'm going through my Venus sequence, and the gene key 37 is my emotional intelligence. So what this means is basically ages 8 to 14, this is when your emotional intelligence and maturity was developed based on your environment and the people that you were around and the experiences that you had. And so with this specific gate or gene key, the shadow or the detriment is all about weakness and, being cold or mean because you're not able to deal with your emotions in a healthy way, basically. So you can be reactive with your emotions or you can suppress them. I'm not going to go necessarily all into the details with the actual shadow aspect. I've been contemplating more so on the gift recently and seeing how it's really connected to how we're shifting into this new wave being in 2027 that Raw really talks about, and how we're shifting to more of this world of individualization. And I have found the connection with this specific gene key or gate because it has everything to do with the family unit and community and how we relate with others. And I know that Raw talks a lot about how, kind of every man for himself, all of the current systems and structures are breaking down. There's not going to be communities like there were before. And I sense that there is almost like this feeling of harshness and fear surrounding that, and almost like anger or bitterness, and like a need to protect oneself and to look out for oneself. And to me, that feels very fear-based and it doesn't feel very good. And as I'm contemplating, the gift of gate 37, which in Gene Keys, the gift is equality. And it's kind of similar to gate 50, and that the gift of that gate is equilibrium. And it's all about, basically being yourself. And that's how we're able to accept and not create these hierarchies. And it's kind of similar to this with gate 37. So with the gift, we're actually moving to a place of stepping into our unique selves and finding that inner child and that lightness and that joy within us, and realizing that through self-love is how we love others, and that is how we can fully show up in community and build a different type of community, is by cultivating and creating that love within ourselves first and foremost. And when we can do that, we can approach and have unconditional love for other people. And with this specific gate, which the full channel is the 3740, it's about bartering, it's about giving and taking. And, with the gift of this specific gate is that we learn how to give to ourselves first and foremost, so that we can continue to give to others fully. And instead of coming from the shadow or the fear base of, I'm giving, is someone going to give back so this can be a fair barter or trade, saying, just knowing that when we give, the universe will always reciprocate back. And so we're coming from a place of unconditional love versus conditional giving, which is kind of like the shadow or the fear aspect. And so this is how, in reference to 2027, how we move forward, we are moving to an individualized place of being. But with everything that has happened just in the past few years, with COVID and the world kind of shutting down, and we're starting to see a lot of systems and ideologies kind of breaking down, and it's all really amazing. there really isn't much to fear when we really do step into who we are. So when I say we're stepping into more individualized ways of being, the way that I view it and the way that I see it is that we are being forced in a way with the shifting of this energy or this background frequency, whether we are aware of it or not, we're being forced to come back to ourselves and be grounded within ourselves and find our values and say, what do we stand for? What are our boundaries? What is acceptable and not acceptable? And when we do that, we show up from a place of deep knowing about ourselves and self-love within ourselves. And when we do that, that is where we can contribute and build these new family units, this new way of living for the community. And to go further than that is like, we're doing this not just for our future, but we're creating a new structure and a new way of being and living in a family unit and in a community for the children that are coming in. And so this is how I kind of view these shifts that are happening. And this is just one piece of the puzzle, but I just wanted to create a video because the realization for me is that I have felt this just kind of like fear-based mindset surrounding like every man for himself because of how Ra has communicated what's going to happen in 2027. Well, if you're living from a place of fear and you're not grounded within yourself and you're not loving yourself, and the shadow of this 37th gate is that, you know, if I give, I'm not going to receive. And so you're just kind of keeping to yourself and you're closing your heart off and you're not coming from a place of unconditional love. Then, of course, things are going to be difficult and they're going to seem harsh and you're going to want to protect yourself and close yourself off from the world. But I don't feel like that's how we move forward. I feel like we move forward from a place of deep love and self-love so that we can build these new communities and new ways of living. And so this is just my reflection on the 37th gate in human design, or the 37th key in the gene keys. And I'm curious what everyone else has to say about this, because it was just such a huge realization for me, because like I said, there can be a harshness or fear-based ideologies coming from human design, and not to like knock or say anything negative about human design. Like, you know, I kind of take what I need from it. It's been so amazing in my journey for expanding my self-awareness and coming back to myself. I use it daily. Like, it's so transformative, but it's kind of like one of those things where you take what resonates with you and kind of just leave the rest, and not to ignore, you know, what is coming, but it doesn't always have to be from a place of cynicism or fear. And if we really want to create this new world moving forward and a new way of being in community and caring for ourselves and create this new beautiful world for the children that are coming in, you know, we want to be coming from a place of love, because that's what we're going to be embodying. And then that's what our children will embody as well, because that is what we have done. We have integrated our shadows. We have integrated and let go of these fear-based systems within ourselves so that we can create this new world from a place of love. And that may sound woo-woo and not realistic to some people, but if you're really doing your work and you're going inward and you're being radically honest with yourself and you're really driven to create this bigger and better world, then, you know, you can realize that we don't need to hold on to these fears. There's really is a completely new and different way of living and experience the world in the future. And we're building it, and we're building it one person at a time. And that really starts with each person individually. And so that's the beauty of really exploring human design and gene keys and all these different systems, because we can see where our blocks are and where our shadows are, and how we can move into the gifts and the actual cities, into these ways of enlightenment and coming from a place of deep love, so that we can live a different world. Like, this is, you know, people talk about the new earth and all these different things, and everyone has different ideas about what that looks like. But for me, it's just, we really are creating a new reality in the sense of, like, within ourselves, we are creating a new perception of our reality. And collectively, if we're all doing this and we're coming from a place of love and we're removing this fear and these shadows, we can step more fully into that love and create that new world. So that's what I have to say about this gene key and this gate in human design and gene keys. So I am curious what everyone else has to say about this, what your experience is with this specific gene key. Just real quick, this gene key or this gate is in the solar plexus, and I personally have it in my conscious Mars with line 4. So if that provides any context for anyone who has this specific gate and how it may possibly show up in your life and how you may be expressing it. So yeah, love to hear your guys' comments, and I'll see you on the next video.